Hello? Testing, testing. Testing, testing. I think we're good because remember last time you heard stuff. Yeah, it was rebarb or reverb or whatever. So let me know. Okay, admit all. They're all coming in. Oh, he's in it. He's in there too. Okay. I'm over here. We're live. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Okay. Ms. Fanbro is logging in. She'll be here in just a second. And good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, Principal Shay.
Oh, hey, Dr. Shakir. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good.
Good evening, Chelsea Baker. Do what again? I don't see them asking me to let you in, but I try to let you in, sweetie. Let's see. There you are. I got you. I see you. Miss Fambro's coming in.
Hi, everybody. We're in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I think we are on YouTube on Mr. Torres. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we'll follow the script. So good afternoon. Welcome to the Housing Innovation Go Team meeting where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noted. And I'm also going to share. Can you honor that, Principal Shay, what I just sent? I don't know why it's asking this time for me to request to share my
Absolutely.
screen.
I did it. Yep.
So much. Pardon me, y'all. We were having some technical issues, but it's going to.
Won't be the first time.
Let's see. And then here we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, welcome to the Hollis Innovation Academy Go Team meeting where we will follow the agenda as it has been publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the Go Team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Hollis Innovation Academy's Go Team to order at 5:03. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take roll.
Barbara Shea.
Here.
Carla Moore. Billy Walker.
Billy Walker's here. She's here.
Okay, I thought I saw her. Okay. Monica Taylor. Chelsea Baker.
Present.
Javier Torres.
Present.
Aisha Fambro.
I am here.
I'm Marielle Hicks.
She's here. She's
okay.
here.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Mrs. Green, is there a quorum present?
Yes, there is a quorum present.
Perfect. All right. So we will move on to our action items. And our first order of business is to approve the agenda, which has also been provided on our website. And I'm going to share it here. Please let me know if you cannot see my screen once it comes up. And I'll try my best to zoom in if necessary. I'll give you a time to just review the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye, so the secretary can record your vote. All opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Righty. We will now review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you, but I'll also share on the screen like I always do. And please let me know if any corrections need to be made as I peruse through it on the screen. And as we're looking through this, please remember that we did talk about Spring Map. It's documented on our meeting minutes, and you'll understand why I referenced that in a second. But we went over Spring Map. We went over the needs assessment. And we actually came up with 3 important needs as recorded on our meeting minutes. We had a principal information item. And then here are the announcements, and we adjourned. Are there any corrections? Since there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. A second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, thank you. All righty, so we will now move forward to our discussion items on our agenda. And what was scheduled was the 2025 spring map results. And again, that was already recorded in our meeting minutes, but I'll also show you the PowerPoint that we shared and kind of just briefly look at the data that we talked about just to refresh your memory, where we compared spring to fall. So here we're spring and fall compared, and my computer's moving slow, so just give it a second. And we did some notices and wonderings. And I remember someone specifically shouting out 3rd grade, and this is reading, by the way. So we did this, and this is the presentation from last time. And we also went over the map results for math, and we did some notices and wonderings as well. So we've already went over the spring map data. If anyone wants to continue that discussion, let me know, but I feel like this was already done and we did a needs assessment. So we can move forward from this, but if anybody wants to stay here, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to move to the next discussion item. But I did just want to bring this back to your attention, just in case you forgot. All righty. Sounds good to me. We also completed our needs assessment, and I will share that so that we can make sure we're all on the same page for what we concluded our needs were. And so let's see. Pardon me. It's loading very slow, but we filled this out here. And these were the needs that we suggested. So student and teacher attendance to increase and become consistent daily. Teacher and content support and parent workshops. Support and communication with both of those. And more and adequate resources to support instruction. This is what we all came up with in the last meeting. Does anyone want to make any changes, or are we still good with this? I feel like this is a solid assessment. All right, we're moving right along. All right, and so the next steps regarding all of that, because that was the last wrap up. Our last meeting could have really been our last meeting, but of course, this was still on the schedule, so we are just moving forward. And so to reiterate, the next steps will be that the principal, which will be our incoming principal, will spend the summer preparing for 25-26. The schools will begin meeting after July 1 or July 1st to organize their go teams for the year. And during the first business meeting in fall 2025, the principal and go teams will review strategic priorities and metrics for the year. All right, so we will now move on to the information items. And first up will be the principal's report. Principal Shay will begin with talking about the GMAS reports, the trend that she noticed, end of year activities, and her end of year reflection as she prepares to part ways from Hollis.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, I wasn't saying anything before that, so I guess that's why you didn't hear me. We have gotten GMAS scores in, parents and Go team members. And many of the individual score sheets have gone home with students. We are still missing the data from 4th grade and 7th grade. We expect that data to be here within the next week because we got such a quick turnaround on the first week's data. I can't really share the information. I can't tell you in a global manner what we have found, but I can say that we are trending in the correct direction. I can say that. I look forward to when hopefully Dr. Shakir can share the data at least at the beginning of next year. But in the meantime, you will be getting your own children's personal data coming home with them from school, and it started going up this week. The only grades that haven't gotten some data is 4th grade and 7th grade. End of year activities. We have a ton going on today, this week, because we have so many assemblies and awards ceremonies. Today we honored pre-K and kindergarten. Tomorrow we honor 5th grade and 8th grade. And Friday we honor grades 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 6 and 7 in 3 different awards day ceremonies. And if you have not gotten an invitation, these are invitation only. And because unless a child's getting an award, parents aren't invited. That's how we have done that this year, and I think they've done that in the past. Any questions about that? Any questions about, have you gotten invitations? I mean, I hope things are coming home exactly as they're supposed to. Kids had them. They're in book bags. Check book bags if you don't have them, because kids have them. The last thing would just be an end of the year reflection, and that would be my reflection on the year. And as I said in our last meeting, which we thought was probably our last meeting, I just sent out a big thank you, especially to my Go team, and knowing that this year was tough. We had a lot of hard decisions to make this year, and I felt nothing but support, and I can do nothing but thank you, because it was a lot of challenges. But we all stood strong and we stood together, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that more than you will ever know. Thank you. Because this will officially be my last Go team meeting.
Who knows? Who knows?
Oh,
It might be another Go team. You never know. But we're glad to have you this year. Sad to see you go, but you've left Hollis in great hands. And so with that being said, we're almost close to something, but we're going to go over a few more things before we get to that. It is an update with the facilities master plan task force, and that's basically going over, I guess, the facilities within APS, right? They have a mission to ensure that the buildings are being used to capacity, and so it's a task force that will be completing that. And so I found an article that kind of gives us a little update about it, and I'll just briefly go over that because by no means am I the person over this. So I'll just highlight some of the bullet points. The first task meeting was completed on May 8th with the community task force, and then the public meeting was on May 19th. And I will scroll down. I'll share this link for those who need it. It was something else on here. Oh, any changes, including any possible shifts in attendance boundaries or school closure, so I highlight this, would take effect in August 2026 from what I have discovered on this site. And the facility task force also has their own website, but I have to locate that. But as of now, they've only had one task force meeting, and another one will be coming up this summer. But again, this is just about the enrollment within APS as a district, not just clusters. And so things will be changing soon and could be as soon as August 2026. And so those conversations have started, and the school board will vote this December based on final recommendations. So I just wanted to update you all about that. And please understand that Google is it. You can Google all of this. We will share some resources to the Go team. And if any of you that are on YouTube want resources, please reach out and we can share it as well. But a lot of this is public information. And so there you have it with the facilities update. We will move right along. Unless you have any questions, Go team. But usually, if you did, I'll see it in the chat. So I'll move on.
Miss Fambro,
Yes.
I just want to let Ms. Green know that Monica Taylor is in the meeting. She came in a few minutes late, so I just want to make sure that she gets credit for being here.
Thank you. Okay.
Perfect. Such a team player. Thank you, Principal Shay. All right, we have to go over Go team elections and the final results. As far as instructional staff, I was elected as the Go team instructional staff representative for next year. So I will be continuing with the Go team. And I did not notate by heart what was the other one. So let's look. Where is Hollis? Because I cannot see. Here we go. And so the parent, yes, the parent that was elected for Hollis would be Miss Sharice Kennedy. So we will be working with Miss Kennedy starting next school year, which will be July 1. I see something in the chat.
Carla Moore is also here. Carla Moore is here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, we just had a few people log in a little later. So we appreciate that, everybody. This is great attendance tonight. Thank you.
And as far as it's a link in the chat by Miss Diane Jacoby. Thank you so much. If you want to take a survey regarding the facilities task force, she has linked the survey in our chat. So I'm telling you all, this is rich information. It affects all of us, even if you have a student in another school or cluster, it is still APS. Facilities task force is working toward shifting APS as a district. And it will look, yes.
I also cut and pasted that survey into the YouTube as well.
You're amazing.
I am. We all know how I feel about computers. So I thought that was pretty darn good of me.
You get an A+.
Usually it's 20 minutes me trying to figure something out. So that's great.
And Miss Diane Jacoby also put in the chat, thank you, because I would have had to do this on the back end. So she helped me out and put the actual comprehensive facilities plan link in the chat as well, Go team. So if you want to kind of save those links, send it to yourselves, bookmark it. Great information there. I wouldn't steer you wrong. So I would definitely suggest taking a survey and taking a look at the comprehensive plan. No worries, Miss Taylor, we understand.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but I also put that in the YouTube link. Just, I'm on a roll tonight. Cut and paste. I can do it.
Oh, I guess you're saying this is it. The final. This is the finale. Thank you, Principal Shay. Thank you. And so here we are with additional information items. Now we have a few announcements. I'll start from the bottom so that Ms. Baker can kind of close us out with the announcements, if you don't mind, Ms. Baker. So please complete your end of year surveys. Go team members, please. It should be in your emails. It'll be a principal feedback survey, which I know you're rate high. Go team satisfaction survey, and complete your required trainings ASAP. I have to say that on record, and it's also on the screen. So please, if you haven't done so, just check that out. And now Ms. Baker will share just a little bit of information about the uniform committee and any updates. And I will share my screen with that presentation. I hope that I can make it full screen. Let's see. It's loading. Faces are in the way. Here it goes. Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, Hollis. Just a few updates on our uniform policy. This year we got a few things tackled, but as you know, attendance has been a whale of an issue in our building. So attendance really took a front seat to everything this year. So we really weren't able to implement everything this year for our uniform policy. But I did check in with our Go Team office with APS, and they assured us that we can definitely roll it out next year properly. And so we intend on doing it. So just some announcements were made this year. Thank you, Mr. Matthews, to encourage wearing uniforms. He does that every morning with Fidelity. I did pick 5 uniform brand ambassadors, and they are ready to go. They got a little weird about the pictures, so I kind of backed off of that idea, but we're going to revisit that a different way next year. But I was able to get at least 5 kids to agree to be our brand ambassadors. We will maintain our uniform committee that we established this year. It's just me and Miss Monica Taylor. And uniform committee will roll out and follow district recommended guidelines and checkpoints during the 2025-2026 school year. And I think that'll kind of be appropriate because we got Dr. Shakir coming in. So we'll kind of work hand in hand and rolling everything out properly. So that's it for me.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank
Let's see if I can. It's a lot of switching around, so give me a second to get out of here. And I think we can go back. And so those were our announcements. And now I would like to give a warm welcome to our incoming principal, Dr. Shakir. He'll be introducing himself, and maybe we'll have some time for some questions and answering. But remember, he does have a community meeting next week. I hope I'm quoting this right. He'll probably inform you of that soon. But without further ado, Dr. Shakir.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon to everyone, and what's today? Wednesday, right? I'm Dr. Adib Shakir, and I'm happy to join the Hollis Innovation Academy team as the new principal effective July 1. I have already started some preliminary transitional activities, such as starting to talk to members of the instructional leadership team, other support team members, so I can learn a little bit more about just some of the things that are happening at Hollis. As Ms. Fambro mentioned, I do have an in-person meet and greet scheduled for next week on the 28th. I will meet with staff at 2:45, and then we also will have a community meeting at 5:30. So I definitely encourage everyone who's able to attend. Please do so. At that time, I'll be able to share a little bit about the vision that I have for Hollis moving forward, as well as give everyone an opportunity to ask some questions that you may have from staff member side as well as the community side. So again, I appreciate Ms. Fambro inviting me. I had an opportunity to meet with her earlier this week, and she shared with me that you guys were having the Go Team meeting. So I see you guys are doing some great work, and I just look forward to helping to continue and support the work as we move into the new school year. And once I have had my official meet and greet, I'm also going to share information with the entire staff, because I do want to have an opportunity to talk to all teachers, so that I can just get some input on these things that are happening at Hollis and things that we want to continue to cultivate or tighten up in certain areas.
Awesome. All right. Go Team. Any questions? Any thoughts? Ms. Balil has her hand up. You are welcome to come off mute.
Yes, welcome, Dr. Shakur. Welcome to Hollis. I wanted to ask you about the current state of Hollis, and then I noticed that the school that you came from, with Princeton, we kind of share the same look-alike data, and Hollis had 2 APs there that have been helping with moving the test scores, because every year we have been showing growth. And I want you to speak to their position as far as returning for the school year, because we want APs that our kids can recognize, and we don't want a big disruption in the school. If we want to do a massive change at Hollis, I recommend we really look at ensuring that all the teachers have the credentials before you remove into APs. And I would like to see them stay present because our children are familiar with those faces and they have been doing the work, moving the needle.
Right. Well, thank you for your input, Ms. Belial. I'm not really sure on context wise. What I can tell you is that when and what has been shared with me, when positions have been allocated for the assistant principals, those positions have been posted, and the current APs do have an opportunity to interview for the position, and those interviews will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. You know, again, with me transitioning back to Atlanta Public Schools and also newly transitioning into Hollis, I don't have any bias against any individual staff member because I'm getting to know everyone. So as the interview process unveils, my goal as the principal is to make sure that I select the strongest candidates that can help move the work, particularly around the area of instruction, because as you all probably know, Hollis is in its third year, I believe, on being on the comprehensive school improvement list. And so I had an opportunity to meet preliminary. I had a preliminary meeting with the state representative that is supporting the school and the instructional work. And so next year is going to be a very strategic year for the school because if the school doesn't make the necessary gains that the state calculates when they come up with all of these formulas in terms of what they want to see in terms of achievement levels, the school potentially could move to the ATSI list, which is the lowest rung. And so in the conversations with upper district leadership, I don't know if that was a part of the conversation in terms of just giving the new incoming principal the opportunity to interview all candidates interested in serving on the administrative team. But what I can tell you is that in terms of my leadership and how I plan to move forward, everyone has a fair chance at the table, but I can't speak on outcomes because we're in the middle of that process right now.
Please note that we voted on those AP salaries in the budget, so it would look like a disservice and an injustice to not have them come back. Because we voted on,
yes, ma'am.
We voted on two budgets for them. I know we didn't vote on people, but we wasn't aware that this was going to happen. And there's no policy in place that this is a written rule that should be happening. What I would like to see as a parent, and for Hollis Innovation, and for modest community schools like Hollis, is for you to really do a deeper dive and go after and ensure that the educators have credentials because our two APs has credentials. If we want to move the needle, if we want to move the needle, we got to credential up teachers.
I think she's referring to the certifications of the staff.
So what you're saying is that the staff does not have certification, if I'm hearing you correctly?
I would like to see the work go towards ensuring that we have teachers with credentials and not be a focus on two APs, because it still looks biased that you want to interview two people. And let's say you pick two people, no, you don't want people around you who are not going to tell you you're going wrong. I'm just warning you and don't want you to end up in any issues with us having to deface a school, which we shouldn't have to. We voted on these two educators' salary. It don't look professional. We welcome you into our circle. So I'm just giving you the charge to do the right thing by educators, by these two APs that has the credential. If we really want to help Hollis, we'll be doing a deeper dive, ensuring every grade level have credentialized teachers.
Thank you, Ms. Belial.
Yes, ma'am. So again, I can share feedback with the cluster superintendent. I'm new coming into the school, returning to Atlanta Public Schools. I had no conversation, no input in any of the prior Go Team discussions. Previous, when I served in Atlanta Public Schools and I was a member of the Go Team, I knew that when it came to budgetary items, it was always made clear that you vote on positions, not individual people. But again, in the conversations that this GO team may have had leading up to the hiring of a new principal, I'm not privy to that, but I will certainly take that feedback that you shared with me, and I will share that with my cluster superintendent. If necessary, I can have her or someone from her office follow up with you, with some additional questions or concerns that you may have had about the process. But as far as what I can speak to with fidelity is that the positions are posted. The current assistant principals who are serving at Hollis do have the opportunity to apply and will be able to interview. But in terms of outcomes of the interview, I can't speak on that yet because it has not yet transpired. Also, to reference your question in terms of certification, um, again, I'm still, I'm in my official start date is July 1, but I'm also doing transitional work now so that I can kind of get up to speed for what lies ahead once I fully transition into Hollis. And so I know that there have been some hiring recommendations for vacancies that I have been working to fill. So I can tell you that in the area of special education, I just made 2 recommendations to human resources for individuals. I can tell you that those individuals are fully certified. I do know that um, there was some initially, I guess, under Principal Shea, those individuals may have been impacted through abolishment, but because of some moves, some of those individuals are going to be able to stay at the school, and they've worked. And I've spoken with human resources who have told me that they've been able to get the necessary licensure for those individuals. Now, if there are other staffs within the school collectively that you're saying may or may not have certification, I don't have access to that information as of yet. But I can tell you that through the Human Resources Department, they generally inform principals of staff members whose certification is due to lapse or if they need some extra credentials, things of that nature. So as that happens, my responsibility is to make sure that I share that information with those various staff members. But, I don't know what the credentials are of each staff member yet because I have not had an opportunity to look at the personnel files.
Okay, but with the comparison of your former school, the data is similar, and the right thing to do is keep people in place who know the students, who can, because you keep saying you're new and you're new in this school, and the rightful thing is to keep those 2 APs so they can help guide the school because they do have their credentials. Yeah, we just want to do right
Well,
about
they'll
our
definitely have an
children.
opportunity. Right. No, I definitely agree. We want to do what's in the best interest of students. And so, again, when I have an opportunity to meet with them at the interview table, I'll have an opportunity to learn more about their work and what they've done to support the whole school community at Hollis. But again, I can't speak prematurely on individuals that I have not worked with them within a work context.
But you
And
can
I
see the
don't
data.
exactly, I don't know exactly what.
But look at the data from when these APs got in place. They had 100% participation for testing, and snacks were provided. Kids were attending the tests. So we have the trajectory, and we have the charge with your leadership with these 2 APs to actually move Hollis, because I have seen some footprint of 100%. At least students attend to do the testing. Your APs were tremendous in this
Okay.
work.
Well, that's
So that's
yeah,
it from
well,
me. I just
absolutely. And that's
want
a
you to
great
be
job.
aware.
Thank you for sharing that, and I'll definitely will take that into consideration. Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Fambro, do you want to read that question from the YouTube chat?
I was about to.
Okay.
This is the last one, unless you see another one. This is it.
Yes.
That's all I see right now. Yeah.
If anyone on the GO team has another question after this, that's fine, but this is all we see on YouTube. And so this question reads, was the question answered about the plan to move the needle on testing with the dynamics of the former school being similar to Hollis? So I think Ms. Bilal.
Former school being my current school?
Yes, I believe so. If I'm reading this from their perspective, I would assume they're talking about the school that you are currently at and will be transitioning from. I guess they're asking what's the plan to move the needle on testing, being that you have similar dynamics to Hollis. I'm assuming that's what this question is asking.
Well, my current school, I'm not sure of the exact percentages. I have to go back and look But I can tell you that my current school is not on the state identified CSI list. When I entered school in 2021, they did have some in part because there were not any college structures in place, particularly around professional learning communities with staff. Under my leadership over the last 3 years, this include my 4 year, our data has gone up every year. Last year, we were recognized as a literacy leader school, as well as you guys had, I think, eighth grade math at Hollis had that recognition. But more importantly, one of the things that has been a benefit to the work that we've done here in my current school is that we've made improvement with our special ed population subgroups over the last 3 years consistently. Not only did we meet our performance targets, but we made our 6% improvement targets. And that work with our teachers and collective with our instructional coaches was really done around the planning table. We had a very intentional and structured process for how we handle collaborative planning. And one of the things that was very big for me as the principal was to make sure that our special education teachers were a part of the collaborative planning sessions and that they had an opportunity. So the way that my collaborative planning sessions ran here at Princeton is that teachers were assigned specific roles and responsibilities. And so, and a part of that, the roles and responsibilities also included the special ed teachers. They would come into collaborative planning. They would bring specially designed instructional strategies. Our teachers took time to actually model out the lessons. And we had a very tight common formative assessment cycle period where we gauged the progress of our kids within a 2-week interval to see how our kids were growing. Although we currently use the MAP assessment system here in DeKalb County, like at APS, one of the things that I would tell my team is that because we take MAP at certain intervals throughout the year, a lot of times I consider that to be autopsy data because teachers are continually teaching standards. And sometimes if you're not in the moment every 2 weeks, monthly, whatever the case may be, based on how long the various units are, you're missing opportunities and kids are developing misconceptions that can continue to widen. And so we spent a lot of work here in my school working with teachers on, number one, understanding what the MAP data means in terms of student rich scores, understanding how teachers can utilize the MAP learning continuum to plan those intentionally skill-based groups so that kids have more personalized opportunities to practice on different skills that they needed to work on. I know when I looked at the information for Hollis, I believe you guys use IXL. Similarly, we used iReady, which was a big game changer for us and how we managed our small groups, because our teachers were able to kind of get some of the small group activities that were already crafted, which kind of minimized a lot of outside time that teachers needed to spend planning for skill-based groups. And one of the beauties of us using iReady was that it was directly aligned to the state standards. So we knew that the kids were receiving work that was very rigorous. So those are just a few things. I'll share more in the weeks to come. But my focus as a leader has always been around how are we planning instruction to meet the needs of students and what opportunities are teachers given to actually sit down and unpack standards and actually practice the skills. As many of you all know, our standards have changed, particularly in the area of math, and kids learn differently nowadays from the way that we may have learned math. So I have a phrase that I've coined with my staff and that I use quite consistently. It's called "we learn by doing." And that sentiment means that everybody comes to the collaborative planning table. We look at the skills that we want our kids to know. And as teachers, we sit down and we plan and we unpack those lessons so that when we provide instruction to our scholars, we know that we're really aiming to hit the mark with them the first time. And when we catch those misconceptions for our students, we need to make sure that we're building in opportunities to go in and develop those skill-based groups that give them more individualized practice. And then lastly, one of the things that I've been able to do is with the formation of my parent-teacher organization, because I don't have a PTA, I had a PTO. I was able to get my parents to come together and we provided workshops for our parents so that we were able to bring them in so that they could have make and take sessions, learn some of the skills that the scholars are learning, because it's equally important for our families to be able to understand what kids are learning so that they can help reinforce some of those skills that the teachers are teaching in school daily.
Thank you, Dr. Shakir. Go team. Any questions? Any thoughts about what we heard? Any questions that was asked? Anybody have anything? Somebody just mute, but I don't know if that was what. Mother Moore, were you trying to say something? I don't think so. Mother Moore, were you trying to say something?
No, ma'am. I'm honoring your announcement at the beginning. I put it in the chat.
You put it. Oh, okay. I got you. You came off mute, so I thought you were getting ready to say
No,
something.
ma'am.
I did want to mention you all that the data that we currently get or that you see from the milestone is not the data that put us on said list. So when you reference data, please know that you're talking about current data as of right now, right? So whatever list, because I don't want to keep speaking of it, but the list that we're on is data from years ago. And I don't mean like 10 years, I want to be clear, but last year's data has nothing to do with why we are on said list. And so when you're comparing data, we're talking about current data. I just wanted everybody to be in the same mind frame about when we talk about, I'm assuming this question is talking about our current data looks similar, which I have no idea if it does or doesn't, but I'm assuming they're thinking that our current data looks very similar to Dr. Shakir's current school.
And we'll get more information. There's a meeting, I believe, scheduled on the 3rd of June where there's an end of year. And Principal Shay, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you guys are doing an end of year summary with the state representatives.
Yes.
To go over just all of the things that have happened at Hollis and kind of talk about what are next steps and next moves for the upcoming year.
Yes.
And so once that meeting has concluded, that will be that's pretty much going to be the guideposts that I'm going to use as we think about planning for the upcoming year. And so that when we have the first Go Team meeting, once the new year starts, I'll be able to give a more informed overview on what are the critical data points that we need to pay attention to. I can tell you, just looking at historical data at Hollis, again, I don't have the exact percentages in front of me, but looking at the historical data, it looks like special education is an area of concern because that falls into essentially multiple categories for schools. You have,
Right.
African American, economically disadvantaged, and special education. So our special education follows the multiple areas which can impede the progress when we look at overarching school-wide data. And one of the things that I think is critical to lift and raise when you think about data is that of course we want our goal to always be proficiency for students because want all of our students to reach 100% content mastery. However, when you have a population of students that receive support through special education, it's important to highlight that progress plays a big part in that and closing gaps. And so as we kind of get an opportunity for me to hear from the state representatives about the work that's been taking place, have an opportunity to look at the data that's been disaggregated across those tested grade levels that really impact the state's calculation and formulation of schools that fall on various said lists. It's going to be important to see how our those school and moving in the strong.
Yes, you're correct. Yes. That will all come out of that meeting.
Direction.
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
that information that'll be more information shared later on.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Go Team. If there are no more questions, I think we're gonna adjourn our meeting. I'll wait a second. Nope, some people are logging off, so that means that y'all are ready to go. We have just a comment. We can move Hollis by keeping the two APs in place. So this is Ms. Bilal just reiterating her sentiments. We can move Hollis by keeping the two APs in place. The issue of the Booker T. Washington cluster is removing key educators that kids are familiar with and trying to change the school right away, and we continue to be back at step one. Also, APS needs to do better at curating educators who has studied their craft and has proven impact at Hollis. Only the people who look like us is discrediting educators and humiliating educators. Why should they have to reapply after we accept you as Hollis principal? And those APs should be allowed to be safe in education and be accepted. Also, fair game is not hiring who you know, it's who's already in place, and then you work on areas that need support. Those are not my words, but that was in the chat. And so thank you, Ms. Bilal, for summarizing your thoughts. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Shakir and the powers that be will take that into consideration. And without further ado, it looks like that was the last statement to be made. And so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
This is Carlin Moore. I second it.
All righty, it was a great year. I hope that the meetings ran as smooth as they could have been. And I look forward to working with you all next year as well as Dr. Shakir. You all have a great rest of the year, and I will see you July or August.
Bye, you guys.
Have a great
Bye.
good night.
Thanks, everyone, for a great year. Bye.